I went to my lovely wife and I said, what do you think of starting a business together?
Being in the relationship, does it make the business stronger?
If he believes in it, then I believe also.
Right. Manuela, you couldn't find your place, right?
I need to find the client. It's
Yeah.
my client. It's my job.
Work-life balance, it's a big problem today. How do you deal with this?
Matching that at the beginning, I think,
Yeah, that was
horrible.
I was hoping you would fight. Where's the drama?
If I want feedback, I ask you for it. If not, shut up and do your own phone call.
What if love is challenged and one of you decides to leave?
I just had an idea where you actually did that.
Can love and business coexist? Hi guys, welcome to my new episode, Brands Through Stories. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We've reached over 1 million views on our channel. This is something I could have never even dreamed of. And this is because of your support. So thank you very much. And please enjoy this episode. I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me that today business is tough, is challenging, is competitive, but at the same time it's fun, it's exciting, and sometimes even it's joyful. And, I've seen more and more people leaving their corporate world to start their own journey of creating their own businesses. And sometimes they invite their husbands, wives, boyfriend, girlfriend to join them on the journey. And this always poses a question in my head. Well, can love and business actually coexist? And being in the relationship, does it make the business stronger or it actually destroys the relationship? I was inspired by this story of this beautiful couple who are my guests today, Will and Manuela Dwarka. They've created a company, Hard at Work, 6 years ago. And it was a beautiful journey full of, can I say, ups and downs?
Absolutely,
right?
you can.
I would like to discuss this question with them. Can love and business coexist?
That's a good question.
Please,
welcome. Do you want to start?
No,
honey?
you start.
I start. Okay.
Oh, you want to answer straight away? We're finished. Start.
So
does it exist?
In our case, obviously it does. Yeah, it obviously does. Although it's a challenging journey because it kind of combines two worlds which are not necessarily go together all the time. Mm-hmm. So you need to find a rhythm so that it works, so that the relationship gets not challenged by the way how you do your business, and the business is not constantly getting challenged by the relationship saying, why are you not at home, or why do we spend so much time on this and whatever. But I think it can coexist. I think it has a little bit to do with how partners actually deal with that, and how you go through that journey, and how ready you are to accept that it is different than what you were used to when you work in a corporate environment.
So let's go. And so I can see you found your rhythm, right?
Yes.
So let's go from the beginning
Yes.
then.
Yeah, okay.
So 6 years ago, when I understood from your story, Will, you came to Manuela, right, and said, let's open the company. Is that correct? Yeah.
That is correct.
You said, let's do it together.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay.
Why did you decide?
So I answered this, and then I let Manuela jump in. I think what happened to me is it probably happens to lots of people in the world. You had an executive job, you were in a corporate environment, and then suddenly this is over. For whatever, didn't want to go that deeper in the reason, but it was over. And then the first almost reflex is either you go back to another corporate job, or you start your own business. What kind of business do former executives usually start? Consultants businesses. That's what it is. So I went to my lovely wife and I said, what do you think of starting our business? What do you think of starting a business together? And believe it or not, her response was, if you think it's a great idea, let's do that.
Let's do that.
At that time we were in Kuwait, not necessarily the place I would start that. We had somebody, actually our landlord who had a really big company in Kuwait. He said, here, well, don't do it here. Pick another place. And I always wanted to go to Abu Dhabi. Dubai at the time offered the better conditions to start a business. And off we went to Dubai and started a business.
Wow. What was your thinking that time, Manuel? So first of all, your background, were you also in corporate right before that?
No, at that time when we were in Kuwait, I didn't work at all because there is nothing to work for a woman from Europe because the jobs I would had to work, they were not there. Anyway, it was let's say a very comfortable life also. So there was no need for me to work, but it was very boring because you need something to do. So before I was in operations manager in Austria, Germany, and also I worked in the Netherlands with Starbucks and was also in operations. But then in Kuwait, I didn't do anything. So at that point when he was asking me, it was like, okay, I finally can do something and I have a new purpose, but I was not thinking at all when I said yes, to be honest.
You just said yes.
I just said
you
yes.
always
I said,
agree
yeah.
with Will all the time? Yes.
No, not always.
No.
But I thought it was also like, okay, I could see how he wanted to do it. And he said, okay, this is it, because he had his company before already. And he's really enjoying it because he has so many ideas, so many to give. And there is no job where you can do that. So only when he had his own job. So I thought, if he believes in it, then I believe also.
Right.
But I didn't know at that point what that has to do with me.
Nice. So you came up with it. You said yes. Next day you woke up. Here you go, hard at work.
Yeah.
Is the baby now?
Yeah,
What's
that took a
next?
while.
What?
I think finding the name took a while.
Did you decide who is the boss, or what's the process? What was next?
So to be brutally honest,
Yes.
I thought this is my place. I'm gonna run this, and my wife is my partner. But I have not really laid out a map and a clear kind of share of responsibility. And this is what she does, and this is what I do. I thought this is not what I do. I try to set it up. I try to make money, and everything's wonderful. And I haven't honestly not thought lots about what my wife does or it doesn't do at a time, because I wanted to build it as fast as possible. And when we started the business, also very honest, we had no idea. We thought this is kind of an easy thing. We're going to start something, and then we're gonna talk to a couple of people, and money's rolling in. That's the absurd notion we had what I had in mind. Naively, you can say, but that's what it was. So we went on a Europe trip for a couple of months because we haven't had a home, because we started a business before we had a home here. So we started a business, made a trip through Europe, visited my network, which was to be revived because I haven't talked to them for quite some time, and tried to find us business. So it was pretty much a day-to-day, let's see what happens. And Manuela tagged along and said, okay, that's fine. So let's meet all these people. And I think that was the start of it, right? It wasn't a very laid out, mapped out.
We had no strategy.
Here's what there was not. It's hard to say, but there wasn't really a strategy. There was a lot of talk, but there was not really a strategy per se. No, we haven't had it at the time.
And I know from your story that, Manuela, you felt a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, you couldn't find your place, right? Will is big guy, talks a lot, very inspiring, you know, and then tell us.
Exactly. No, and I'm the opposite of that. So, and I have no problem with it. I don't want to be in the front. I like to be in the back and doing my things. But at the time, it was just his company. For me, there was no, I didn't found, and this was, on the beginning, not so clear, but it came with every year, it came more and more visible for me. Okay, so where I am, where is me, what's my contribution to this company? Yeah, I do things, Will is telling me this, and I did it. And maybe I did a lot, but for me, it was not mine. It was, and I thought, okay, where is this going? And do I really want that? And so this was this was like I would say a learning that I really said, okay, I need my part in this company, because we cannot coexist in the company if I don't have my part, because then it's only him and I don't feel like a 50-50 partner.
Right, you were 50-50 partners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you feel that moment when you felt there was no place for you, or still is not defined, did it influence your relationship, or did you mention?
I don't think it influenced our relationship. It was just clear for me. This is it's you have a private life and you have usually your work life. So like most couples have. But if you join together in a company, then everything is like a mix. So there is no private and work life. Everything is mixed together, and you really have to be careful that you separate this, because now suddenly everything was only about work. All day, all night, only work. We went up in the morning, work. We talked about, there was nothing else. So really there was the thing, okay, I need also private. We need to find the point where we can just put one side and the other side, so we can have also private. But that was really not possible. So I said, okay, but to find my part in the company, I need my work space where I do something alone without him, even in the same company.
So how did you do it? How long it took you?
I think so it came very clear after COVID. Because COVID brought us in a very, very difficult situation. We lost our clients, and we are in Dubai, so there is no help. There is nothing else. You have to survive by yourself. That was also a big learning. Never had that case before, because wherever we lived, I was also working corporate, and you're saved in the country is doing a lot for you. So this is the first time you say, okay, if I don't do anything by myself, I will not survive. So, and then I was thinking, okay, I know his struggle. So what can I do next? What get my next client? And I said, okay, but what can I do? So I also have to find my clients. I have to find something by myself. We had a very successful assignment in the Expo. That was really, really good. I think
Expo was that kind of breakthrough from something she owns versus I own. I might have ideated it and we might have conceptualized it, but she ran it more or less entirely with the team she had. So I think I think that was a breaking point at this very moment, kind of out of something to something which is, hey, look, I make the success of this thing is primarily because I work on it every day.
So it was out of the project that you actually found your place in the situation. So the difficult times 2020.
It was difficult for so many reasons, because when you start a company, and I'm pretty sure people which are listening to this can relate to this. When you start to it, you obviously you're filled with the positivism, the excitement, the adrenaline. We're going to do something. But the reality is we never work together. I mean, we work together, but we never work together. So you suddenly work together with somebody who's an entirely different style or ethic or whatever, and you suddenly work together in your own business, and here is one person which has a style to work which is used to work from 9 to 5 and do their stuff and whatever else, and there is somebody who can work 5 hours in a row, and then I'll take a break, which I need for a couple of hours, and I do total nonsense. And matching that at the beginning, I think,
that
was horrible.
Because
it was horrible.
Yeah, for me, as I always worked with schedules, because I had to write schedules for my team, so everything has to be organized. If you have, if in your operation, and if you operate a restaurant or a cafe, everything has to be organized. So also I had to organize my day. So I thought, okay, in the morning we wake up, we have breakfast, and then yeah, we wake up in the morning, but nothing. He was just like, maybe I just watch some TV. Maybe I do something like that. And I said, yeah, but
we have work to do.
Yeah. So I had the feeling nothing is moving. So now we stuck in the middle. But he started then at 5 o'clock in the evening. And I said, I do a night shift. The whole night. I can't do that. So I need to. So this was a really struggle, because I thought, is he ever working? And then he worked when I was already finished. So that was really difficult. And to find this and to accept it, to say, okay, this is your thing. You work whenever you think, and I just stick to mine. We don't have to have the same schedule. Only when we need to discuss things, then it's important.
Which I think is a super important point in a partnership. Because you asked, kind of, can love and business coexist?
Yeah.
Is at one point you need to accept the other party's way of dealing with things. Because if you start trying to change, people try to change people in their relationships, which usually never works. People are who they are. In a business relationship, if you try to force your way of working upon your partner, I think that fails 100%. I think at one point you get to this point, and I think we got to that point to accept, I will not tell you how you need to work, and you're not going to come back and tell me how I need to work. We just need to have alignment on what are the objectives, what do we like to accomplish together, and then whatever way everybody picks, it needs to, at the end, it needs to come to the goal we both agreed upon to reach. Anything else is entirely upon you or upon me how we get there. And I think that took us some time, was a bit kind of back and forth, but at the end with the expo, I think we came to that point quite in a quite good way, so that we could do that. And I just wanted to add on the private side, on outside the business. I mean, we work in food and beverage, right? Most of our business is hospitality. So what we do when we are not doing our job is we go to restaurants, we sit in hotels, we travel. Everything we touch somehow is work.
Is your work.
So we sit in a restaurant, and because somebody says, hey, there's this great restaurant, we should go there. And then we sit in the restaurant
And evaluate the
and either it's her or it's me, and then we sit there and say, my God, this is really bad. This is whatever.
This is so not romantic.
And it takes it might start romantic and say, oh, what a nice place. And here's some bubbly and here's this. And then,
have you
but
seen the waiter?
did you see the waiter? Right? That's exactly how this works. And up till today, right?
Yeah. You still do
this
that?
is the way.
Yes. Yeah.
This is the way.
So please make sure when you see this couple in your restaurant, don't open the door.
It's the most horrible thing you can have.
No,
Us in a restaurant is either the best thing you can have or the worst thing you can have. Absolutely.
But it's interesting, while you were saying, I'm relating it to just a business partnership, right? It's very similar principle.
It is.
Okay, maybe the role is more defined when you put a business partnership. But when the way of working, dealing with this, it's exactly the same, even just a pure business relationship. I think it's important to, I'm just thinking about, I went through different business relationship, and yes, I had the failure because of this, because of the different way of looking at the same thing.
Yeah, but I still think it's a difference, because if you have a business partner, on a certain time of the day, you just close the door, go home.
Exactly.
But I have to see him at home also. So.
And if you mess it up, or you kind of run against the wall or whatever, it doesn't stop there. You can tell yourself, we're not going to take this home. We're going to separate the things. I think we had these discussions, I don't know how many times. We're not going to taking this home. We know when there's a stop. It's not. If something's messed up, or you chase the money, or you chase a client, or you chase success in one form or the other, you think you can switch it off. I can say for myself, I'm incapable. And how often we tried this when we went on vacations, kind of call it vacations, places where we thought we can relax. It takes seconds, and you're there. So how did that happen? And why did I do this? And could I not send a different quote? So I think in a business partnership, you would just say, at one point, this business partnership doesn't work, so we end the business.
You just leave.
But we're still in love, so we still try to figure out how does that impact the way how you live together.
But it's interesting that you've mentioned another big point, which is the well-being, right?
Yeah.
And that whole work-life balance, that it's a big problem today as well. I experience it without having any business partners now. It's a huge problem going from the office home and not being able to switch off.
Yeah.
How do you deal with this? Well, how do you deal with this, or you just
You have to deal with
working?
it, because if you continue and you don't take care, because that's what I saw. I don't feel good. I get nervous. I get anxious. Whatever. So I have to work against it. So especially like these negative thoughts, we all have them. There's a lot of going on in the world, but I don't want to think it. I don't want to be negative. I think, okay, no. It's positive, you think positive. It's always easy to say, think positive. It's sometimes hard, but then you have to think about the little things. What do I like? We like sports a lot. So let's try to do more focus on some trainings. And this is the thing, when your head is spinning, it's even very difficult to go for a session to the gym. But you have to do it, because you feel better afterwards. Walking, we like walking a lot. little bit
Together,
difficult.
walking and discussing
Together.
work.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
that's perfect.
We do that too.
That's the
Yeah.
perfect situation because your mind
Your
gets
mind
free.
is-
You have new thoughts. If you have negative thoughts, they're gone, and new are coming in. We love that.
I think as a partnership advice, if I could give anybody advice, walk together is amazing.
Yeah.
Because at one point, the walk becomes kind of a secondary element,
Yeah.
but it creates a certain freedom in your mind. And then most of the ideas we ever had for business or personal life,
It's
we
fun.
had while we were walking. Now, this is not the greatest place to walk, to be
Yeah.
fair, because if it has 40 degrees, walking becomes a bit of an exhausting exercise.
Challenge on its own.
And walking through a mall is not the same thing. However, if you have the opportunity, even if you're really stressed out, and even if you had this on the edge of a conflict, which we haven't had a
Yeah.
lot, but on the edge of a conflict, we go out, we walk, and after 15 minutes, your brain starts working differently,
Yeah.
apparently different connections, and then you start working on the solution versus on the
Exactly.
on the problem, because the problem is the problem. If you can do whatever you like, COVID, what is it? What do you want to discuss? It is what it is, right? Any minute you waste on discussing it is wasted. It is there.
Yeah.
You have to deal with what's there, not with what you would like to have, because that this isn't the case. So I think the walking thing for us as a relation, or this kind of doing things together, was amazing in so many moments of our lives. Absolutely.
I think the 2020 years challenges, I liked in your podcast what you said, that you were worried, Manuela, but
Yeah.
you didn't want Will
Yes.
to know. And I think this is, now it's some of men will kill me for these comments. But I've noticed that, absolutely not modern thinking, but I've noticed that in COVID, men went bizarre.
Yeah.
They actually got worried, and but women who actually took control over the well-being of the families. Forgive me, those who do not agree with
I
me,
know.
right? And I think
Yeah.
this was your point. You were holding your feelings, worried to.
In that moment when you never have, to be honest, I've never had experienced something like that before, because you were really like, okay, financial thing, situation. In the country, we are guests here still, so there is a lot of things you have to think. So it starts to get you all these thoughts. What happened when this, and what are we doing then and then? And of course you want to share these thoughts with somebody. But then I see him, and I see he has the same
More.
thoughts. So who is there for him? So I have to be strong for him, and when he is down, I have to cheer him up and say, okay, we can do that, even if I didn't feel. But also sometimes you also have to let it loose. So he did the same in this, and I think this was our special thing, that we really know, okay, we can do the work and the relationship together because we are strong for each other. Even it's not easy, but to hold back your own thoughts, your own feelings in that moment and say, okay, no, because I love my husband, I have to be strong for him. We're gonna get through this. I think that helps us through this time.
And I think to build on that, and since I love watching podcasts, and then very often people kind of seem to have figured it out all the time.
Yeah,
We have not.
seems to.
So yeah, this seems to be a sign of the world, is everybody knows everything at any time, which is
That would
BS.
be nice.
In my personal opinion, is BS. However, there were moments when I was sitting in hotel rooms and I did not know where to go. I really didn't. I was just frustrated. I was exhausted. I didn't know what to do, and I had nobody to tell, because I could barely tell a client, hey, look, I'm totally frustrated. I don't know where my future lies. But so and then I don't know how many. I used to send her videos, kind of saying, hey, look, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be beautiful. And then while I was down, she started sending me these same video messages I would have sent, very kind of saying, this is gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. This is wonderful. And I can't tell you up till today how much that meant at this very moment, because you're not alone, and that makes a business partnership and a relationship combination so unbelievable strong.
Yeah.
Because you suddenly have somebody. It's not about the business. There is somebody who, regardless what the outcome of this person will be by your side, and that gives you unimaginable level of strength in going through difficult situations. Because let's be honest, when things are great, everything's flowing in, money's great, everything's wonderful, we all super. We all wonderful, we don't need anything, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's these moments of where you don't know where it goes, where you sometimes ask yourself, so who do I talk to? And then having a partner who actually has your back and vice versa, when the same happens to her, gives you a strength and builds a bond, which is so strong today that whatever is thrown at us, it doesn't really matter. We kind of look at each other and say, okay, cool. That's how we're going to deal with, and this is what we do, right? So I think it's fair.
Yeah, absolutely right.
I think if I were to take a business relationship, yes, here in this situation, love actually makes a difference.
Yes, I agree.
Right? When we talk about the first situation, position and place, probably business makes more sense because then it's clear.
Absolutely.
In the difficult situation, love prevails, love saves it. Very romantic. Sounds very romantic.
Yeah, but it is.
Right?
It is.
Yeah, because in the, I had different business relationships and it was pure business relationships. And it was, the minute it's difficult, that's it. We all for each other, right? We all just fighting our own, want to explain our frustrations, how we're going to, want someone to take it off us and help us, right?
And if your relationship, and I hope you agree, but if your relationship is already challenged, and you step into a business, you can almost be guaranteed both will fail.
Probably,
yeah.
Because you try to save one with the other, and while you're trying to save both, you fail on both.
Yeah.
Or the business goes really well, but your relationship is done, or you try to fix the relationship and business is done. Because I think is probably my advice to people which go into this. If you really go into business with a partner, you kind of need to first ask yourself, is the relationship strong enough to do that? Because you don't know what the future is going to bring. You don't. You can make plans as many as you want. At the end of the day, you don't know. Is it super successful? Is it not? Do you have to change? Do you have to close? Do you have to take a job again? You don't know. So you need a relationship which is strong, because if not, one of the two might start complaining about the life and where's the money coming and why can I not buy this and why can we not go on vacation? We haven't had this. We kind of had this, it is what it is, and we deal with it. We might have not found each other right away, but we know the relationship is strong enough, and we know we can do that. I think this is I think it's a fair.
Manuela, how many times did you want to just leave and close the door? Leave and all the way, leave, just run away.
For sure, many times.
Yeah.
But I think it's something we all would like to do when things get difficult.
Yeah.
Just say, okay, I close the door and I run away. And I think that was also a point.
I just had an idea where you actually did that.
Did you?
I actually just had a thought.
No, but because you think, okay, then everything, but it doesn't change anything.
Yes.
So you have to get back, sit down and think, okay, what can I change?
Yeah.
And this is the hardest. Where did I do
Yeah.
that?
Was there a situation you had to run after her?
Absolutely. So we have already established I'm the talker in the family, right? So I love to talk to tons of people, kind of consider myself absolutely fantastic, as you know. At the end of the day, we had these moments when we were in the same room and we both have phone calls. And I have this, should we call it ability? Whatever. I can do a phone call, but I can also listen to 5 other people having phone calls at the same time.
So multitasking, they say.
I'm not sure if that's true, but anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah.
However, I'm listening to her phone call and kind of having ideas what she should say differently.
Yeah.
So while I'm having my call, I basically, you should just, whatever. There was a moment when at one point she was just standing up, walking away, and when I finished my phone call, I said, here is the thing, right? I do my phone calls the way how I like to do my phone calls. If I want feedback, I ask you for it. If not, shut up and do your own phone call. And there was an aha moment, I think, at this very moment, because okay, all right, okay, cool. I think it got better.
No,
much,
But you still do that.
but I still do it every now and then.
The solution was I'd never do a phone call next to him or video call. I'd just go to another room.
This is so annoying. I would have...
Yeah, it is. I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's I'm just being honest. That's what I sometimes do. But on the other hand, I know she stands her ground in so many different ways, because that's one thing which I think is also important. She never gave up to be the person she is. So she never started to say, because my husband would like me to be like this, and this is, she never. If I mess it up, or I'm about to mess it up, she would say it. She would not hold back. She would not say, well, I rather, because that might agitate him, or that might, whatever. No. She would come and say, I don't really care if you like it or not, what I'd have to tell you, but here's what I have to tell you. And I had to learn, wasn't an easy task, but I had to learn that this is what you have when you have a company together, right? She owns half of it. If I'm about to mess it up, I would expect for my partner to say, really? No, we're not going to do this. Let's stop this. And I think that was a great development over the years.
But I think to be able to stand, your grounds and say like that, you need to have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Right? I know you're saying you have an imposter syndrome, but to be so firm and say, the way I do my phone calls and so on, it sounds like you are actually a very confident person.
I think it's also a self-reflection that I always think that, but I think especially because we have our own company, I had to learn to be more confident, and maybe even I don't see it, I grow in the whole process. I was growing a lot, and I'm able now to stand my ground and say, okay, no, I have my own ideas, I do my own things without him, where he's not involved, and this is very, very important for me, because that's the thing also. I know he has much more experience in different kind of things, but I also have experience in other things. So, and I am who I am. So I cannot change for him. I will not change for anybody. I will be never the person who goes in the room and say, okay, I know it all and I'm the best. I said, this is what I am. If you want to work with me, let's try it. I will do my best. And that's what everybody will get, because if I like to do something, I'm also very into it. And and that's me. That's my personality. And I think I'm the listener, he's the talker. And that helped us also very often, because sometimes when we have a meeting with somebody, I tell him afterwards, but this is what I was hearing in the meeting, because you were just talking, but this is what I saw, or when they whatever. So this is also, I think, a very good thing where we are can work very well together.
And it's also an interesting development, because I was used to rely on myself a lot.
Yeah.
And then when she started not only the restaurant thing, but she started to do the wine ambassadorship for different winemakers, and she's in all these fancy restaurants in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and I'm the first husband. I'm basically just driving there and kind of sitting there around and just holding the bag, and she's actually there and presenting wines and doing stuff. I'm so incredibly proud, because because I'm standing there and I'm thinking, hey, this is my wife, right? She's there. I'm kind of irrelevant. People will come and say, who are you? It's like, I'm the driver, I'm the husband. But she would stand there in front of all these people, experts, whatever, presenting her product, doing so amazingly great. And I would sit there and I would just be watch in awe. I would say, my God, it's my wife. And I haven't seen this in the past, because in the past it was kind of part of the, she did her job, but I haven't seen it that way. So we somehow, I think over the years, we developed in this. I know she's far more confident than she thinks she is. And when she does these things, I'm just standing there and I'm thinking,
I think,
amazing.
But the most important thing about that was mostly he brought the client and I had to do something in operations, whatever. But this is what I found out after a while, that this is not, that's why I don't have a place in the company, because I need to find the client. It's my client, it's my job. And this is what I did, because on the point I said, okay. And then I reached out to people I know, and things starting to develop.
So when you started looking for your own client, you have your own clients, exactly. You felt this, that you could also try.
This is my part. Then now I have my 50% fully developed in the company. That was the thing. And that and before I didn't know exactly what it is. I just thought, because he has more experience and I'm not so experienced to run their own company. I was always in corporate. So no, that was wrong. It was, I need to find something in our company by myself.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So if I were to just a little bit summarize, so having a confidence, right? Or try to find that confidence in yourself to say no, right? To put your, foot on the
ground and say,
on the ground.
here we go.
Being proud of each other is beautiful, right? For all the achievements and not just the simple things that we do.
Yeah.
This is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And supporting each other. And when the person wants to leave, run after that person.
Yeah. And I think the leaving thing is an interesting one because if you would have asked me the same question, I think I never had that. I never had this.
I forgot to ask you.
Doesn't matter. I
never zero?
Zero. The only thing I had at the beginning was now having my own business, the temptation of going back into corporate because it was so much easier.
In corporate.
It was so much easier. Everybody who says entrepreneurship is no, it's not. Corporate is so much easier. Why? Because you have, if your brain capacity is 100%, you need 50% in corporate because
For
the
real?
other 50% you don't.
But
care.
you need about 100% of your nerves.
Yeah, that's a different story. But when it comes to
my experience with corporate.
Yeah, because in corporate, a certain part of your thing is taken care of.
Yeah.
There's so many things you forget to think of, but they are taken care of. There's some department, some piece, some team, some person which takes over some of the things you would have to think of when you start your business, because our business is not a 500,000 people business. Our business is, we have 4 people. So at the end of the day, it's a small business. So you have to take care of lots of things by yourself.
By yourself.
And there is things you hate. I hate accounting. It's horrible. Don't want to
accounting on the when
receipts
it's
and receipts and kind of receipts and to send over there. It's great to hold the money, but somebody has to do all the paperwork. I'm so happy that I have somebody who took that away from me because I hated it dearly. But it was super important because I was telling myself we're doing really great. Well, if you look at the piece of paper, actually we're not. So we have to do better. This was at the beginning, it was the hardest part. Kind of, do I go the easy route or do I go the significantly more challenging route on the entrepreneurship? But as Manuela said at the beginning, I love it from the bottom of my heart. I love this ability to pull everything I've ever learned and known and figure out if I can make it useful in the business I have. That is the greatest reward since we have the business, right? And it grows with it. So would I leave today? I would never say never, but I would say probably not, because there was no corporate environment where I could have ever done this. For small startups or for big organizations to pull the right element of support and see the people grow with it is a reward which I think in that directness and kind of really impactfulness, I think I would have never had in any corporate environment I've ever worked.
Yeah, I think once you're out of corporate, it's sometimes people go back and it's
I see it every day.
It's okay. There's
They do.
nothing wrong with that.
No,
I think
absolutely
if you feel you're not good, just go back.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not a failure,
No,
right?
that's
It's actual courage to try.
And here's another thing which I think we discuss a lot about is failures. So what?
Yeah.
So what?
Where's all these
Yeah.
fuss about I failed or I missed something? Who cares? If you miss something, you fail, you didn't get it right, then you did. You thought the grass is green on the other side. It's not. Doesn't matter. It's just part of life. Carry on with it as an experience, and you will find out it actually makes you stronger if you face it, versus just cast it aside and try not to talk about it. Hey, we failed with a business. We had a business together in an event management company. Total nonsense. Should have never started it. I told you before. It's total nonsense. We should have never started it. But we did. So what? And at one point, we turned out it was a total failure. We sat down and said, we can keep this on for pure ego purposes, or we're going to decide we're going to close the damn thing. And we did. And I do not shy back to tell people that, because it made us stronger in making decisions. And I think it was a good decision that we actually did it, because it probably protected us from making bigger wrong decisions or bigger mistakes than we did with this small thing.
I think, saying no and realizing that this is not what you need in the right time is crucial.
Absolutely.
I work on this Mastervision, right? I have this. It's the passion of my life. I help people to write their not people, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, their master vision of the company. So it's like a master plan of your company where you see how it's gonna unfold.
Okay.
So the vision, I think, is where it all starts. Before, if you want to see how your city, is going to evolve on your master plan, you need to start
You need
with
to
that
have a vision. Yeah.
You guys, do you have that master vision? Do you have that vision? Is it aligned? Have you ever discussed it together? How you see it in 20 years
No.
No.
I think the answer is no.
No.
I think we never had that vision together.
I think it's a good.
We should. Let's
yeah.
put it. I think it's fair to say what we have is I think it's a general idea where we would like to be, but it has less to do with the company. So the company's vision is this is probably the only thing where we're not necessarily have an aligned way of looking at things. The company is the company. Of course, we want to be successful. Of course, we want the company to sustain.
Number one.
But that the real thing is where we would like to see ourselves in the remaining, whatever, 25, 30 years we have in this life, is where would we like to be as a couple? Where would we like to sit? And I think that's something we have a clearer, I wouldn't say it's a real kind of mapped out vision, but it's at least a clearer vision.
Direction.
Exactly. So that the
It's
company...
a direction.
It's a direction, yeah. It's not a really vision.
Not,
yeah, you're right.
I think we still have this feeling, as 6 years is not very long for a company. We're still young, so we still have this feeling we're still on the beginning. So even we are not that young
I like
anymore.
it. We're still young. That's great. That's
No,
cool.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you
We're
are
still
young.
We're still young. Yeah, exactly. Agree.
That's
Finally,
what we-
here we go. We're young.
No, but this is the thing. That's I think we think we have so much time, so we will make it and we will do this, and then we will think about this. But usually, we should start
bit earlier. Yeah.
now to
I think it's a great exercise to see your
I agree with
vision
you.
and see what actual. And when you do it, it's such a self-reflection.
Yeah.
Because you go through values, what you believe as couple, also that you translate into
I
your
agree.
business, and what makes you different, also, and so on.
Very good point.
So I think it's a great exercise
I
to
think
do.
I agree with you.
But now the contrast. So you have this beautiful vision in your head where you want to retire and so on. Now, have you ever discussed the sad part of it? Let's say, what if love is challenged and one of you decides to leave? What is going to happen with it? I know, God forbid this
Yeah.
happens, okay? I don't wish it.
you know.
But what if? What
Yeah, you
if
start.
you decide to leave? Have you discussed it?
this is something. Even when you say that, that's
Yes.
stupid that I start nearly crying.
Yes.
And it's maybe it sounds stupid, looks stupid, but never ever.
No.
So we have in the family story like that,
Yeah.
where yes, they were a very young couple and they created a company together, very successful, and then unfortunately have kids in the family, right? And unfortunately, then they had to separate, and they're not in a very beautiful terms.
Unfortunately, we know
But
that.
they have two key positions in the company, and
that's
it's not just
difficult.
them, but it's a third partner
It's
also.
difficult.
Yeah,
Right?
very difficult.
So let's put it this way, because we have this as a joke every now and then, but I think I'm with Manuela on this. Somehow, and I can't tell you this, and maybe we do a podcast in 10 years and then we figure out if this is true. Somehow, it feels like an absolute impossible scenario that we
do that
do not
in my country.
that we would not love each other anymore. There's a possible scenario that the company will go bust. There's a possible scenario someone gets sick. But in my head, even if I think of it, I can't even imagine how that would feel.
So if you come to the sad part, then it's more like one of us is dying or whatever. So this would be the only. But because this thought, like you said, we will. This is we found each other, and I think all this the soulmate, blah blah blah. I know it's also cheeky, but it's
It is.
It's us. It's us, and we go to all these things together, and only if some bad things happen to one of us, then we have to think what shall we do, because this is still something topics we don't touch, so we don't like to touch, let's say it like that.
I'm not a psychologist, know me, right? I'm not an amazing business consultant on partnership. But sometimes it's good to touch there. From my own
I know.
experience, in any kind of business relationship, right? Business relationship, there might be a point, and like I told you from the family experience, though I have to say their marriage didn't survive and was very difficult, but their business survived.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, and it continues, and thank God it's very this. But I think it's
It's important.
probably it's important.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
We'll take your advice, Dr.
Oh, no,
Dr.
no
Nina.
responsibility.
We take your advice. Yeah, disclaimer, no
The
responsibility.
disclaimer. I
No,
had
I
so
think
many disclaimers today.
What we do have and what we do discuss is whatever business we have at the moment and the way how it is not a sustainable solution for a long-term future because there's too much personal effort going into the business. So we need to set our business up broader and make it sustainable despite us, Manuela and myself, constantly jumping in planes and flying around the world. As exciting as might sound for somebody, since we've seen a couple things in our lives, guys, the excitement is actually not getting bigger. So that's something we talk about more, kind of how does our business, in which direction will our business go so that we find at one point, and this is a discussion we really have, to find more time for each other. Because at the moment the time we find for each other is very business related. And then we go to come together and there's a project and we see each other. But when it comes to are we having time for each other as time?
Yeah.
That's something I don't think I'd like to see myself traveling as I do at the moment, 210 or 220 days a year. And then saying the time is left is the time I have with my wife. I don't think this is what I picture as the future of our togetherness. I definitely don't. And I think Manuela is the same, is kind of having time together. We just spend a couple of days together. It is so valuable and so unbelievable important that constantly sacrificing it for the success of the business, I don't think is the way forward.
I think then to have that clarity, actually, to write the vision together, to see what's
Absolutely.
your uniqueness,
You're right.
put your values together, see it as a really master plan of the future.
Yeah.
Peace.
I
Good
really
piece of
like
advice.
that,
Really
yeah.
like that. Good idea.
Now we're gonna, on this very great point, we're gonna do this thing now. I've created a game, a little bit. I used to do a quiz, now it's a game, where I've tried to be very technologically savvy and ask AI to actually help me to create this test for this beautiful couple. Test is to check how business compatible they are. So I asked the AI to give the story and asked the AI to give me 5 questions that we could judge according to that AI tool, their compatibility in business. So right before the podcast, right, you guys, I asked the 5 questions and individually they wrote their answers. Now we're gonna compare it and see, and based on that we decide.
This is gonna be a really interesting one.
So Aziz, could you bring us the answers? Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Let me.
Here we go.
Even
Ooh,
though I
exciting.
haven't seen the answers.
Drum roll. Here we
So
go.
let me open the questions also. Well, now, disclaimer. This is
Another
AI business compatibility test, not Nina Seredai Udalova. Brands Through Stories podcast does not feel carry responsibility for the outcomes after this.
Nina is now putting to the test what we just said, that we feel love for each other forever. And then after this thing is over, if that's not the case, Nina says, it's not my fault, guys.
We're gonna-
Figure it out.
And then we'll give you some
That's cool.
psychologists to
Very
deal
good.
with.
Super.
Family counselors, telephone numbers.
I'm actually pretty nervous, actually. I feel some sweat in the palms.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, here we go. It's super. I love it. Yeah.
Maybe I should have asked some family counselors to sponsor this podcast.
That would be a good idea for you. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so the first question was, who's the bigger risk taker in business? Ta-da!
Oh, here we
I
go.
could guess that.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, it's the unfortunate truth. Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, well done. Almost there.
Yeah.
Now, the next question was, if your business was an animal, what
I hope I put 2.
what animal would that be?
Yeah.
So, elephant. That
Elephant.
was Will. small dragon. Talk me through that.
Yeah,
So
okay.
because for me, if I were to think, I would think this is slow, wise, big, very considered, and small dragon. I don't know what is small dragon.
You have
It's
to
for the
ask her.
fire,
You have to ask her.
Okay,
fantasy.
so the small dragon has a story. So there is always when we travel, we have a little stuffed animal with us.
Always different one or one
No,
the
one.
same.
He
She has one and I have one.
He has a small camel and I have a small dragon.
That's so
And this is like, it's something to cheer me up, to give me comfort when I'm flying, if there are any turbulences. So,
yeah.
and and that's why I think also because a small dragon has to become a big dragon. So we're still not that big, but we gonna get bigger. So that's why the
That's
dragon.
nice.
The dragon is a powerful, even it's a fairy tale animal, but still,
Very
that was my thought behind it.
Why elephant?
Isn't it obvious? No,
I didn't want to say anything. I thought,
again,
would that be
you
an
can't. But isn't it obvious? No. First of all, I love I love elephants as an animal, and I think the elephant has something which I can relate to. Is we're definitely not the fastest. So we're not the fastest. We cannot outrun a cheetah or whatever. There's a certain strength coming with us, which is not based in we kill the most other animals. We literally the strength comes from appearance. So you're not necessarily take an elephant on for an unnecessary fight because there's not a high chance that you're going to win. There's a certain wisdom with an elephant. There's a certain level of consideration before we do things, right? We're not blindfoldly run into every ditch because we get stuck, and that's difficult because we're so big. And I think that's why I picked the elephant.
Oh, that's so nice. I think
Very nice.
it is compatible. Let's say it's different animals, but it's compatible. Yeah. Okay, who is more likely to bring up work during dinner?
We are not.
You're not aligned.
You just
That's
like
interesting.
talking about work.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I
that's
think this is compatibility.
that's
You
very
just
interesting.
like talking about
yeah,
work.
that's true. And and I have to
Yeah.
say this because otherwise, so that it doesn't come across wrong. We do not consider work, and I think this is an important part. We actually really love the hospitality industry. We love talking about food, people, training, service, interaction, the whole storytelling. We love it. So it's not like on a Monday morning I need to wake up and now I need to get myself my work head on, because we love that industry holistically and dearly. That makes it so difficult to switch off, because what you like to do, it's hard to switch off.
Yeah.
If it's something you just do because that's where the money comes from, it's easier because you can say, hey, now it's 7 o'clock, so we don't do it anymore. But we don't, because sometimes these discussions are not necessarily agenda driven. They're just, hey, what do you think about this? Or there's this new restaurant. What do we think? Should we go there? Should we have a... So I think that's where it kind of gets, the lines get a bit blurred, because it's not just work. It is actually something we emotionally are very strongly connected to.
I love it.
Okay, here we go.
I love it. So the next one is, if you had to describe each other's business style in one word, what would it be?
Patient. Yeah.
I don't know if it's motivational.
Motivational. Okay.
I think it's beautiful. So energy and motivation, and then you need to really patience. Be
So-
conscious.
Manuela is my patience. She's my conscious and patience, because, and I kind of over the years we learned to do that, is whatever things we do, whenever we touch something, we will talk about this now. She would be informed before I make a decision about a client. She would basically say, hey, look, here's what I think, and here's my 5 cents worth of what I think. And her patience is, she never rushes things, which I would do, speaking risk taking. I would rush into something.
Right.
She would
So
not.
she
She would basically be the person say, really, are you sure? Is this the right thing to do? Whatever. And usually when I take another round of thinking, I might say, you might actually, we just had it yesterday with a conference, which I was about to take, which I was about to be a speaker in. And we had a chat over the weekend and say, hey, look, what do you think? And then we had this chat, and she was this, really, what's the added value? Why would we do this? Besides the fact that you stand on stage and you think great about yourself, but what is the actual added value? And do you really need to travel there? And what do we think the business gets out of it? And out of this discussion, I canceled my attendance. And I think this is why she's patient and I'm not. So I think that complements each other just fantastically.
And I think that idea of fear of missing out, in this case, you feel like it's great when you have that, right?
Absolutely.
So you can really judge the situation from different an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Now, what was the last question? Do you remember?
The last question.
I don't remember.
What was the last question?
Oh.
Wait,
What was the one thing your partner would never let go in the business?
The never let go thing.
Even if it's a bad, terrible idea or thing.
They never let go. Okay. Yeah. Reputation. Instagram. Was it for each other or for the channel for themselves?
For each other.
Then I haven't listened to the question. You say, here we go.
Oh, here you go. So that's why it's a little bit boring.
Yeah. So,
let's stay with this.
Yeah.
Tell me more, Manuel. What is this?
Will loves to
Thank you very much.
To take his phone, Instagram, watching all this nicely videos.
Doom watching, I think. Doom watching
so
is a doom
we all do
scrolling.
it, absolutely, but this is something, he's addicted to it.
Yeah,
so that's why I had to write it down.
But I think in the business world, you need it, right? Do you?
I think I have a. The longer I do it, the more convinced I am. I don't think that's true.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't. I think I don't need it. But very recent, we moved the phone from bedrooms into office. So there's no more office next to the bed, because there is this reflex. You just take it and you watch whatever is in there. And although I know after a couple, Manuel's right. There's a certain level of addiction. So you have it and you think I should actually stop because there's nothing in it. Yeah. But you keep doing it because you wait. I think you wait for this one thing which really excites you, but the reality is it's all kind of waste of your time. When I put the phone away, I actually it almost was a bit like cold turkey for some time, but now it's kind of that's okay, and I think I'm getting better. But she's right; it's hard to let go, because I thought about deleting some of the social media platforms I'm on.
Are you several?
And I haven't.
No,
it's Instagram and it's Facebook and
TikTok.
TikTok, I'm useless. I have it, but I don't use it. And we try to use it more for the company professionally. Haven't started it yet. No. I'm not an expert, whatever. So I think something to work on. The reputation thing was more the thing. I think we both, if we would get a client which would force us to betray the values we have as hard at workers company, and it would make us a lot of money, we would rather walk away.
Beautiful.
So we wouldn't do something just because it makes us money, and we would not feel that our channel principles and the way how we work with people or interact with people, if that would be jeopardized, I think we both would say to each other, why would we do this? So I think this is
because that's why our company is called Hard at Work.
Exactly.
Because it was like we are working with people, so it's all about people, and I think nobody likes to be treated badly, and also we don't want to treat people badly. And I think especially when I'm in operations and we had the cafe and we had the expo, my team, I had a really team. I found the people, and the team followed me. Over 3 years, even it was only 6 month assignment. So, and because I treated them fairly, because they work. They are the one who make the money for us, because they are there every day. They work hard, and I know it's not easy. So, the best I can do is to give them a good work environment, treat them fairly, and also be there for them. So that's why I think this is very important.
This is so beautiful. And that's why this whole podcast is not about marketing, what people think, because I have the word brands in it, but it's actually about people or companies that make a difference. Yeah. And if it doesn't matter if you're big or small, it's what impact you bring in this world.
I agree with you.
So my verdict is you're compatible. And I would ask my team.
Yes. Here you go.
I would ask my team to draw a heart here. Okay. Draw a heart right
please,
there.
Please do that. Let's draw a heart. That's good.
So Yes, and we have the winner. Perfect match.
Here we go. Thank you very much. That's good.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much, guys. I loved the podcast today. We had a laugh. We had a
me
bit
too.
of a tears almost there.
Yeah,
and I
almost.
think it was beautiful. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for being so... I know the word authentic is being so overused. Genuine, authentic.
Genuine.
Yeah, really who you
you very much.
are.
Really,
Thank you
very
so
much
much,
appreciated
Nina.
the invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
some new insights.
I was hoping you would fight.
Yeah. No.
I wanted drama.
No,
and
we
you
did that
kept
outside.
it diplomatic.
We're not clear about the script, so we need to do the fighting another
Yeah,
day.
that's why we
Where's the drama? Where's...
that's why we are not for all these reality shows, because there is no drama in our
There's
life.
no drama.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
thank you.
and if there is drama, we don't make drama out of
Nah.
it. That's I think what it is.
No, I
There's
hate
enough
drama.
opportunities for drama, but then sometimes you think, really, what does it change?
Well, we get some AI to bring some.
Yeah,
drama,
please
okay?
bring it.
You know,
Please
they
bring
have
it
that
up.
thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then when we watch the podcast, it's totally,
Oh,
we
it's
have
totally
totally different things.
Yeah, like it happens when you do TV things, right? Yeah, here we go.
Thank
Super.
you so
Thank you very much,
much,
Nina.
guys.
Really much
I
appreciated.
do this stupid thing.
No, that's good. It's not stupid at all.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.